I distinctly remember watching it at Scott's house. You may have been there.
I think I was there because it's like all these people, this whole like everything. It felt like I was, major deja vu.
Well, that's the power of cinema. You felt like you were right there. You're right in there with the actors.
It could have been that there's just so many like eternal truths in this.
Yes.
That it feels like, watching something I've seen before, because deep down I know I need to be baptized.
Yes.
I know I need to find true love.
Right. And so therefore it wasn't even really watching a movie. It was sort of like watching a life you could have lived or will live.
It felt like unlocking. It's like, you come across a homeless person.
Okay.
The worst thing you could come across. And he's sitting on a box and he's saying, help me. I don't know how to find happiness.
Yeah.
And this movie, who's me in this scenario, says to me, who is the homeless person in this scenario, the happiness is in the box you're sitting on right now, my friend. All you have to do is look inside. And I'm like, oh, but that's too much work.
Yeah.
Can't I have another stimulus check instead?
Jesus. I love when I'm walking and I see a houseless person and I say, help. And I go up to it and it says, Jinjo. And it was actually a Jinjo the whole time. And then I get a Jiggy.
God damn it. I didn't know what the fuck you were talking about until the very end.
Yeah, well.
You hit the Jiggy and then you freaked it.
I did.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay. I'm referencing one of only 3 video games I've ever played. It's called Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, I always liked that one. Welcome back to Boys Bible Study. What is true love? Love. We're back with another film by the Jehovah's Witnesses. We're in
JW.
I would say we're yet another week in Jehovah's Witness Protection Program. We're back. Ash here with my co-hosts.
Are we allowed to credit ourselves?
Oh, that's a really good point. Actually, yeah, we're doing this podcast completely anonymously. This is all for Jehovah. Well, you know what? You guys say your names. We'll edit it out later.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Scott. I'm Scott.
And I'm Julian.
Yes.
And Ash, we are not allowed to see your face.
As the gay character on the podcast.
You are not allowed to be seen.
I'm not
on
allowed
camera.
to be depicted.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a sort of a relief that What is True Love was not about homosexuality. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Anyone was really excited about that.
In a way, a gay character is like the Muhammad of Jehovah's Witness.
Too
You
special.
are not allowed to depict
Really, too beautiful a
images.
face. Too beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Ash, you're going to have
Exactly.
to, we can still see the back of your head, of course, so you're just going to have to turn around for the rest of this recording.
Yes, I will be standing in the corner with my microphone facing a wall. We are referencing, in the past, we've reviewed many Jehovah's Witness films for this podcast. They're some of the best Christian filmmakers, making some of the most insane films we've ever seen. We're referencing a film of theirs called Remember the Wife of Lot, where there is a character who other characters in the film several times refer to him as gay, and they just simply, every time this actor is on screen, they're always turning around, like facing another direction. We never see the character's face. It's so fucking weird and eerie. And this is just
We hear their voice, though, right?
we hear their voice. We see them. They're in space. They have a name, blah, blah, blah. They play when the mom becomes a real estate agent, she has a gay assistant.
Yeah.
And
I wish there was some way to find the credits for these,
my God, I
so
know.
we could see if they
know.
even like credit the gay character.
I know it's remarkable.
You're saying hypothetically in the way that they secretly credit who's in the movie somewhere, they still would not credit the gay character.
I think
The gay
so.
character,
Yeah.
that's
Well, I mean, they
awesome.
won't even show like their face. My theory is that they don't want to have a straight actor
Implicated.
as playing a
I
gay
agree.
character.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I'm curious if there is some sort of like secret credit somewhere, would they even list a name?
Right.
Or would it be like a bunch of X's?
No, I agree that we will never know really unless we can find an insider to tell us. So that is our theory that is why Jehovah's Witnesses do not reveal the faces of their actors who play gay characters. That being said, our film this week is a Valentine's Day special.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about lust. It's about love, true love, in fact. And we thought it would only be fitting this Valentine's Day week to talk about love.
Let's talk about love, baby.
As the great genius of our time, John Lennon, once said, all you need is love.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Let me just give my landlord a hug. That's going to pay the rent.
Jesus said, love thy neighbor, not love thy landlord.
That's true, yeah.
Just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But we're very excited to take you through this Jehovah's Witness film. This one is also amazing. Every single Jehovah's Witness film is solid in its own way. This just had some great parts, some relatable characters, and I think we all learned some pretty deep moral lessons about love. I think we left this Valentine's Day with a little more love than we started it. So it was a big success. So let's get into it. What is true love? Where should we start? I mean, we've talked a lot about Jehovah's Witness in the past. Is there any background or references to other films that we think we should like mention before we get into this? Or should we just jump right into the plot? What are you guys thinking?
I think they feel like they touched on the hazards of love and the prodigal returns. And
Yes.
there was also one of the short films that we watched. There's like the hint that a girl could help a boy in school with homework when he doesn't need help.
Right.
And that was like enough to be like out of the question. It was very
Yes.
loaded. It was like the most loaded it could have been for there being barely anything there, for a relationship being evil.
Exactly. Yeah. Something we've learned from watching, maybe 3 or 4 Jehovah's Witness features and some short films as well is that just background we've had that you might not have, gentle listener, if this is your first time here, is that basically for young people, especially people under the age of 18, but even older than that in some cases, it is considered very inappropriate within the Jehovah's Witnesses to date.
Mm-hmm.
And not even just to date, but in most cases, even to fraternize with a member of the opposite sex in a not like rigidly supervised environment. In a short film we watched, the title of which I will never be able to remember, but that's fine. The happy conclusion of the film is that, maybe 15, 16-year-old boy just decides to completely stonewall a girl in his school and never talk to her again.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance she might, be interested in him.
Mm-hmm. They call that cunt blocking.
I think we do. I mean, it was real like incel hours. It was really just like on the upper, like when you get across the incel mountain to the point where you're like really proud of it and you like intentionally like cut women out of your life so as not to like distract you.
Yeah.
That's like what this film, like the final frame of the film is like this boy smiling serenely as he's like walking past a crying girl at his locker.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
He's a Volcel for Jehovah.
Volcel. Exactly. Yeah, Volcels for Jehovah. VW. Pretty amazing stuff. And so, what is true love? Of course, we're expecting to get another film about love and relationships. And we sure do. This one seems to be more aimed at kids, just about graduating high school. I think your average, the characters in this film are sort of in the 17, 18, 19 range. And I would say that's probably the target audience of this film. So it's talking about dating and relationships for that age of young adult. Still need to talk to your parents. That's something we know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
No dating unless mom and dad approve. Yeah, let's talk about the plot then. And I know more about the Jehovah's Witnesses' very specific feelings about love and sex and relationships will emerge as we go over the plot of this film. But where do we begin?
We begin at a coffee shop, and two of our stars work there, and a third one walks in, a love interest. Almost immediately a love interest walks in. His name is Zach, and he's flirting with Liz, and she takes a break to talk to him, and things get going quick from there. She's never had this feeling before, and so she is a good Jehovah's Witness, and she goes to talk to her parents right away to say that she needs to talk to them about something and that she likes a boy. And they have the same reaction any parent would have, which is that you're too young. You're 17.
There's something I want to tell you. I'm not quite sure how to say it.
Okay, we're listening.
There's someone I'm interested in.
Interested in?
Someone I'd like to date.
You're only 17.
I'm turning 18 the next month.
That's not the point.
What is the point?
You know how your mom and I feel about you even thinking about dating so young.
And she says she's going to be 18 in a month. And come on now. You think that's good enough?
I think a really funny exercise in this film is to like obviously we wouldn't have time to do this, but let's say you're watching a Jehovah's Witness film, wait for a character to reveal something on their mind to another character, and then pause the film and try to guess what the other character's reaction is going to be. In this case, it's like a very mild-mannered
It's
daughter.
like watching a sexual harassment training video.
Yeah.
But the one we had to do for work was like an FMV game this time.
It was.
Like the modern ones are like you're watching a movie and then it pauses and they're like, now what is it wrong with what's happening right now?
Yeah.
This version is pick the reaction.
Right. And no, I think that's like the ultimate. We need to get someone with the Jehovah's Witness who can make FMV games, because I think that would really take their filmmaking to the next level. But in this case, as Scott said, yeah, the daughter very meekly, politely, respectfully, they say, daughter, is there? I think her name's Liz. They're like, Liz, is something on your mind? You haven't even. The parents are like, you're not even listening to our conversation, Liz. The parents are talking about some boring shit, and Liz is like not paying attention. So they're like, something must be wrong. And she says like, well, there is something I want to tell you. I'm interested in a boy. And they're like, no. They're like
furious. It's crazy because like you said, she's like 17, and like, I mean, it's not explicitly stated, but it seems like the idea is like, as soon as you turn 18, you are supposed to get married and have children as quickly as possible.
From what I can tell, yeah.
It does seem to be the vibe here.
It seems a little arbitrary.
Yes, the Jehovah's, we're going to learn, I don't mean to jump the gun, but we're going to learn a couple things from this film, which is that, yes, one, you're not about to think about love at all until you're 18. When you're 18, you should become married as quickly as possible. And thirdly, if you don't make that choice correctly the first time, your life is completely fucked.
You're done.
You're done. So I don't really think they're setting themselves. Listen, I'm not one of those, you should, oh yeah, just get divorced 10 times. Who cares? I think you should give it your best shot first, if at all possible. But it just doesn't seem like they're setting themselves up for success. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, am I jumping too far ahead, or wasn't there a bigger issue that
there was?
Wasn't.
Oh, you're not jumping far ahead at all, Julian. It's a much bigger issue.
It wasn't just that she was dating.
Right.
Or that she wanted to date. She has not even been dating. Wants to date.
She expressed the desire to think about possibly dating someone.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was that she wanted to date an unbaptized man.
Yes. The very next thing
you're gonna have to censor that word.
The very next thing she says to her parents is it because he's not baptized? And they're like, he's not baptized? She thought this was common gossip. I guess.
He's like the dad's about to get his shotgun and drive down to. How dare you want to date my daughter?
So the scenario that this film sets up is such a funny Jehovah's Witness scenario, because in this film, of course, she's interested in another Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
Because, she would never be into like a non-witness. Although, sidebar, we have watched a film in which that is a bit of a plot point. What's the film with the fucking rapper?
Oh, yeah.
With the white rapper.
I thought you were going to talk about the Prodigal Returns with that.
No, you're right. There's a subplot in that as well.
Crap, with
It's a little different.
Marcus, the producer.
Hope for what we do not see. Hope for what we do not see. In that one, there's anyway, Marcus, the white hip hop producer's sister, gets involved with the guy at her college who is not a witness.
Right.
He's not a Christian at all, I think. But this film doesn't even go that far.
He is a leftist Jew, bisexual.
He throws paint on the Mona Lisa on weekends. But no, in this film, Liz is interested in a Jehovah's Witness. She's interested in a teen who has decided to become a Jehovah's Witness for no reason. His parents are not into it. He has just somehow been converted at high school to become a Jehovah's Witness.
But weirdly also just is totally against getting baptized.
Yeah.
On, Scott.
This is another issue that comes up multiple times, is that his parents not only are not properly Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe the same thing at all. They come from a mixed religion family. I forget exactly how they say it, but it's some order of the words mixed religion family.
Let me find. I think I wrote it down.
How in the world did he land on Jehovah's Witness in high school?
They say Zach was raised in a religiously divided household.
A religiously divided household.
He was raised in a religiously divided household.
Yeah, that's their terminology.
Yeah, but they say it a couple times in different ways, and it's like clear that that's like, whew, not good, not a good starting point.
But it's just funny because it's like this guy is trying to be your insane religion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No offense to the JWs. It's just like, can you cut my man some slack? He's 17. He hasn't made the baptism appointment yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's trying to be a fucking Jehovah's Witness.
It's just so funny to me that like he just like it felt like when people were like against getting the vaccine but like didn't want to let on that they weren't because out of like fear that they would alienate their friends or whatever. So yeah, he's just like, no, I'm gonna get baptized next week, don't worry.
No, that is actually very
I've actually been doing some research about baptisms. It's just very bizarre to me that you would pick it's not a niche religion, but in some ways it is.
Right.
And you wouldn't do like one of the most important things, which is really, when you look at it logistically, just involves dipping your head in some water.
But
it's not like you had to get an adult circumcision,
Right. Well, yeah. You should just take the plunge. Literally. But he could have just been on the path of like a devout Jehovah's Witness, like some two very devout Jehovah's Witnesses cover his neighborhood,
Right.
Like there's a mother-daughter duo who comes by my house pretty regularly to check in on me and talk about the end of the world.
Okay.
That's nice.
Anything? Kinda. They're nice.
Is it good? Is the outlook good for the end of the world?
No.
Did we get the good ending?
They're like, stuff's pretty bad, huh? And I'm like, go on.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna need to hear a little more specific than that, but thank you. It's nice to have a mother and daughter who want to talk, eschatology with you. I hope that's the right word.
Yeah.
I still haven't talked movies with them yet, though.
That.
Like, I'm gonna have to ask them what they think of baptism, if that's important or not.
Yeah. Y'all seen Hope for What You Do Not See? Y'all seen What Is True Love?
You're a Jehovah's Witness? Name your top 3 Jehovah's Witness films.
I would honestly love to poll people on that. So yeah, let us know if you learned anything, Scott.
So you admit you're not baptized.
But so, again, Zach, who will soon become, one of the main characters of this film, I find him to be in a pretty bizarre situation, but it works for the sake of telling the story. It
Very
unveils.
weird. It was like they couldn't have him not be Jehovah's Witness for the sake of the story.
Yes.
So instead, they just made it like a million times more unbelievable.
Right. Now, this is a bit contrasted. So Liz works at the coffee shop with her friend Meg. Okay. And Meg is another Jehovah's Witness teen, about the same age. And, they're all in the faith. They all know each other. But Meg, this is a common character in Jehovah's Witness films. We meet a witness who's just a little more understanding of the outside world. Meg even says to Liz, like, hey, he's I'm sure he'll get baptized soon. Like, why can't she just be a little more understanding?
Yeah.
But Liz has doubt. She consults with her parents, ultimately decides pretty early on in the film to break things off with Zach. It's not an easy decision for her. But as she says to him, word for word, I can't even consider someone who's not baptized.
I can't even consider someone who's not baptized.
Side note, not to go over every little detail in the film, but we do see a scene where Zach gives up playing soccer because he has to go to Jehovah's Witness Jehovah's Witness meetings. This, I think, is meant to show that Zach is in some he's not a bad character. He's trying to be a good witness.
Yeah.
He kind of like reneges on that a little later with the soccer, but I wrote in my notes, Jehovah's Witnesses love when you have to give up soccer to be a Jehovah's Witness. They love shit like that.
Yeah.
The ultimate thing you can do to make a Jehovah's Witness person happy, as we've seen from these films, is to be like, yeah, I used to love, playing basketball, but it conflicted with my meeting, so I just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses will be like, wow.
Yeah.
You gave up basketball? You got to give it up to be a Jehovah's
This guy,
Witness.
maybe he has rabies or something. Because, seems like you would take baptizing over giving up, your favorite sport.
Yeah.
Or at least do both.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just so
This guy
hung
is a
up
little
on the
off,
fact
though.
that he just did not get a baptism.
Just get baptized.
It's most people have it done against their will.
True.
Like as,
Let's
as
be
babies.
honest, though. Zach is a little off.
Yeah,
He's a little off.
He's a little weird. He's a little
He's got a weird face. He kinda looks
Tell
like a
me you're
puppet.
from a divided religious household without telling me you're from a divided religious household.
The first act of the movie basically ends with Liz rejecting Zach. I'm just looking for my notes. There's so many funny lines that I wrote down. Liz's parents saying to her, can you honestly see Zach as your spiritual head?
Mm-hmm.
Can you honestly see Zach as being your spiritual head?
my man. I'm not even gonna go
No,
there.
no. Because we're a Christian podcast. So. This is just an example of how Jehovah's Witnesses, their movies are very engaging, or engaging is the right word. Their movies are just very watchable until they throw in some fucking vocabulary where you're like, what?
Yeah.
They just let that one fly like it's a normal thing people say. Can you imagine Zach as being your spiritual head? Her father also says to her, when you start developing strong feelings for someone early on, you don't see their potential flaws. Discuss. Kind of true.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I thought it was some reasonable advice from a father.
Yeah.
That particular bit of advice. Like, it's pretty precautious. That could still be out of like a place of love and like experience.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're the parents and you know like your child has one shot.
Yeah.
You really got to be strict about who they're allowed to think about dating.
Well, it's funny because, teenage love is generally has the potential to be a lot more like intense and spontaneous and passionate, and there's something that's like, it's very idealized and romantic. I'm not even talking about Jehovah's Witness. I'm just talking about people in general.
Yeah.
Like, it has a tendency to be very idealized because of how like romantic and quick and passionate it is. And sometimes it seems to be like against all odds, like two teens like find each other and they just really feel like it's them against the world and their love. I mean, that's what Romeo and Juliet is all about. And I've even seen a bunch of weird discourse on Twitter from insane people. A very common thing that people repeat a lot on Twitter is they're like, you will never experience, like, if you didn't marry your first love, like, then it's over. Like, you will never experience teenage love again. To which I personally say, good.
Yeah. I don't look back fondly on those days.
No, and
either.
if people do, listen, I know of people who married their first love, they're still together, all these things, but I don't know. I think a mature, cautious love it's different, and it's where it works better for me. I don't know. That's just like the way I am as a person. I'm just a bit more cautious about these things. So, in my opinion, kind of reasonable advice from the father until they start talking about spiritual heads and things of that nature.
I mean, look at that dude's busted ass face. You really want him to be the spiritual head?
Howdy doody looking ass.
I think that's just the Jehovah's Witness, like playing the dozens. It's like the way they tell somebody that they're ugly.
He doesn't have a good spiritual head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, he wasn't that. We're joking.
Yeah, we're joking.
I don't like the cut of
He
his
was
jib.
pretty goofy looking. He was a very goofy looking guy.
He was a goofy looking
The fact
guy.
that he was supposed to be like 18 was kind of ridiculous.
Well, sure.
Clearly like 37.
Well,
That might have been that may be the holdup that the parents actually had, was like, this guy is clearly
he's been
stalking high school girls.
he's been held back
Yeah.
at the Kingdom Hall a couple times.
Yeah, he's the Van Wilder of the Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. And
That's the thing I
80s
like about
comedy,
witnesses.
18-year-old.
Yes, exactly.
So she has to talk to him after that, and they get in an argument, and that's that.
You know what? I was hoping you weren't going to be like this.
Be like what?
I know I have things to work on. Just thought you'd give me a little bit more time before you just write me off.
I'm not writing you off.
Really? So you're saying you'd give us another chance? Yeah, exactly. You know what, though? I can never be with someone that expects perfection.
That's not fair.
Well, neither was this.
You know what, Liz? I wrote in my notes, Liz, you can't fix him. But then to begin Act 2, I wrote in my notes, Meg swooping in on the leftover dick like a vulture.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. She runs into Zach just like staring blankly at the dock, waiting for his dad's restaurant shipment.
Yeah.
What was she doing down at the dock?
That's what I want to know.
Walking the dog.
Does your mom still hang out at
Walking
dockside
the dog.
bars?
Yeah.
Remember that one? Remember that quote?
What was that?
Does your mom still hang out at dockside bars? It's from the Fensler film G.I. Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. That's what Meg was doing. Yes, Meg runs into Zach at the docks where he's waiting on a shipment for his father's restaurant. And I'm starting to think that Meg can change him. Y'all. What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
I would say, yeah, odds are high.
Presumably with the help of Jehovah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Liz's parents did say, they have to keep Jehovah in mind on their romantic decisions. Basically, Jehovah's Witnesses, they want teenage love to be cautious and not impulsive, despite the nature of teenagers. They believe that the way to make that happen is to insist that the teenagers, quote, keep Jehovah in mind in all of their romantic decisions. You will not make a mistake. You will not marry the wrong guy as long as you ask Jehovah a couple times for permission.
Yeah.
Meg thinks, maybe Jehovah could fix this guy. I mean, he seems like he's on his way, right?
Yeah. He's saying all the right things, at least, and that counts for something.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up soccer for crying out loud.
Yeah. There are some funny little things. Like, I noticed a very small moment early on in the film where he interrupts what Liz is saying to talk to his dad on the phone. And it wasn't really much of anything, but to me that was coded like, oh, he's not the right one.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a big deal because before that, he mentioned that his dad's not a witness and takes his business really seriously, and that he works for his dad, which kind of like posited that like he's not working for the Jehovah, he's working for a business guy. And then he takes his dad's call after that to drop their what would be the building block, a foundational piece of a strong relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. You can either be unbaptized or unemployed, but you can't be neither one.
Exactly.
Wait, you can't be. Well, you can either be baptized and unemployed. Wait, what is it? You can be unbaptized and unemployed, or you can be baptized and employed, but you can't be unbaptized and employed.
Exactly.
Those are the two major taboos in Jehovah's Witnesses.
Honestly, it's imagine a 17-year-old girl saying to his parents, well, I'm interested in a guy from the church. You know, he is 35 and hasn't had a job for 15 years. But, you know, he goes to Kingdom Hall every week. He's baptized. The parents would be like, wow, he must take Jehovah really seriously.
Yeah.
He's never held a job in his entire life. Jehovah's Witnesses hate work. We've learned this.
They do. Well, the idea is that like someone else from your church is just going to give you money.
In some cases, yes. That's what we've learned.
What was that the prodigal son where they like just the family just moved into their like basement?
That was also Hope for What We Do Not See.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Hope for What We Do Not See, the whole movie is underscored by the fact that there was this other witness couple that was just basically like, yeah, we're like normal, like we have nice clothes, but we're also just like homeless.
Yeah.
Can we just live with you?
Well, because
And
they don't have jobs.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Legitimately, yes. And then the family was like, yeah, why don't you just live in our basement? It's finished.
Yeah.
And you know, all the kids, everybody just has to completely put up with this sudden imposition of like 2 more people just living in your house.
It's just a very bizarre situation. I don't know. There's some things that I'm just like, yeah, it's not fun to work, but like if you're capable and you know, a sociable person, you should probably just get a job so you don't have to live in like some family's basement with you and your wife when you're in your 70s.
I disagree. I say live in the basement in your 70s. There's no windows at the Kingdom
probably
Hall.
Not that bad.
You should feel closer to God in the basement.
Given what I do, given the activities I get into in my apartment that I pay for with my job, an exorbitant fee, it probably wouldn't be that much different than the activities I would get into in the basement for free. And I would probably get the same amount of sunlight.
Yeah.
Right. And you get that extra radon in the basement too.
Ooh,
Yes.
radon.
Ooh,
They call me
God.
Marie Curie the way I be huffing on that radon.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, I also, a funny thing about when the family moves into the basement is they're always like talking to the kids who they live with. They're always like giving them moral. Imagine some fucking family just lived in your basement and gave you lectures all the time. Wouldn't that be horrible? That'd be like the worst thing that ever happened to you. Oh my God. So, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses in some ways have really bad boundaries, but in some ways have like more boundaries up than anyone ever. Yet Meg, you know, Liz's friend, sees something in Zach and that funny little face of his. And honestly, I thought he was cute.
I knew you were going to say that.
I did. And Meg starts pursuing him. Also, Meg has parents. Her parents are in the picture as well. Meg's parents do not approve. They don't.
They do not like that he was raised in a divided religious household. Well, they kind of say it in like this way that's like, that's not good, but that's something to come up from. That's
for real. It's like he didn't have a fucking choice. They're really, it's really like, you just can't make any mistakes in this freaking religion.
No, Jehovah's Witnesses are really all or nothing. Yeah, it's like it's not enough to convert to Jehovah's Witness as a teenager and be in a quote unquote religiously divided household. It's like he's also supposed to just like abandon his family?
Well,
yes, that comes up in the movie.
That does, yeah. Which was kind of crazy to hear.
Yeah.
I don't really remember that moment.
It was.
This was later with Liz's new boyfriend, her perfect boyfriend.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was like the first conversation they had, I felt like. Or maybe second when it was like sort of hinting at like, oh, they're going to get together.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we should talk about them.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a concurrent storyline happening.
There is. Yeah, we're gonna check back in more with Meg and Zach and their let's say doomed relationship.
Yeah.
Right. That's ongoing.
But
this is very
ongoing.
And that's kind of how this whole thing was very much like a Korean like melodrama TV show.
Yes.
Or kind of like a telenovela or something.
Yeah.
Very.
More like a Korean show though, in like look and everything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The way their cinematography. Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, Liz has a sort of meet cute with a guy named John. A witness.
What do we think of John?
I also thought he was very cute.
Nice guy.
He's such a
Good
fucking
photographer.
He has a very interesting look. He looked like he was like muscular, but he also had like he has like a weird like little kid face. He kind of looks like a little kid who made a wish and woke up at age like 30. But I thought he was very handsome.
He's got fucking scally caps around the house looking like that. He looked like a fucking overgrown newsie.
Yeah. No, he really did. Yeah. That MF be wearing the newsboy.
He was a very shy, meek-mannered.
He's a beta.
He was a big beta. And that's what gets you ahead in JW.
Well, that's true.
That's right.
That gets you a little spiritual head.
Yeah, it really does. Yes. You need to be definitely sort of like meek and neutered to an extent, certainly sexually. However, you have to be very firm on certain things.
Yeah.
And one thing that John is very firm on, which like Julian already hinted at, is that like it's clear that he's made a commitment to Jehovah. John says one of the most difficult things in his life was when his little brother.
This was like shortly before he meets Liz.
Yes.
Or reconnects with Liz.
Right. Yeah. It's he reveals that his little brother was, I can't remember the term, like basically removed from the church.
I think he said dysfunctioned because I like rewound it to like listen again. And I was like, I think he said dysfunctioned.
Because he gave up on he wasn't following through on his like witnessing or something. I couldn't really understand what he was saying, but it essentially sounded like he was kicked out of the church and his family.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend of mine who that happened to, not for the same, reasons, but like, a very good friend of mine was completely cut off by their family for the same,
so brutal.
It's very brutal.
Yeah, it's so brutal.
And so,
but unfortunately, that's just God made the rules.
I mean, God made the rules. I just work here.
Yeah.
Right. He said it so matter of factly, and he's like, it was the right thing to do, of course, but it was still hard. It was like
you don't have to be God to work here, but it helps.
You ever make a decision that you know was right, but it still hurts anyways?
Absolutely. And a couple of years ago, my little brother was disfellowshipped, so we had to stop associating with him. It was the right thing to do, of course, but it was still painful. 1 Peter 5:7 has always helped me. Jehovah cares for us, so we're never really alone.
Yeah, and Liz, again, this is as we said early on into Liz meeting John, and this is a little code for like, oh, he is a good witness. The movie, again, when you watch this and you're a Jehovah's Witness, foreshadowing things happen that I'm just going to say it, a normal person would think, oh, this person is a psycho.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to read, oh, they're a good witness.
I mean, women love problematic men, and nothing turns a woman on more than to tell her that you have cut your younger brother out of your entire family for not following up on his religious obligations.
Yes, he's going to be a great family man.
This is the man I want to raise my children.
A great spiritual head.
Right.
Yeah. It was difficult for him, though. I can't imagine it was any easier for the younger brother.
Yeah.
I imagine not.
Well,
he made his bed.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
He made his bed. Now Jehovah's lying in it. I don't know. John is a very interesting guy. Oh, I have in my notes. They meet at a wedding. The first note I have in my phone about John is she spills juice on a gay guy. We're about to meet John. That was just my first impression of him. And they just Liz accidentally tips over a glass of, I think, juice. I'm sure it wasn't wine.
Yeah.
And
can they drink? Can J-Dubs drink?
Like, no. Because later on in the film, when Meg goes to her high school reunion, did you notice how there were so many like martini glasses in the frame all the time when she was at the high school reunion? Because it was supposed to show that it was like a worldly event.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, notably, there were like beer bottles, wine glasses, martini glasses. Like, I almost felt like way too many of them, even though probably a normal amount for like a bar or whatever. But, it's shocking to see Megan surrounded by these things.
Did either of you go to any high school reunions?
God, no.
Nope.
Me neither. I never got invited.
Yeah.
Missed the 5-year, missed the 10-year. I believe I've missed the 15-year.
I don't think I was invited. I've also changed my name multiple times, so that could be part of it. I don't have really much of an interest.
Me neither.
My dad was like autistic about his high school reunions. He like attended all of them and like helped plan them and everything. He was very into that.
I have an aunt who's really into that, but it's like
maybe when we get older.
It's like I think it's just, not being able to just text somebody for majority of your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have friends who are just like people I met on message boards named like Dick Sucker 1998.
Yeah.
Or, who have like an avatar of like Bob Hoskins from Mona Lisa with the star glasses on. And they post about how much they love, like the Stone Roses. And then in the private forum, they have 98,000 posts in the depression thread. Those are like the people I know.
That's your high school reunion.
Yes,
right.
That's my high school reunion.
You got to start a reunion forum on the opinion board or whatever.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, everybody get in VR chat
for reunion VR chat for posters class of 2005 or whatever. But I don't think they were drinking alcohol. Yet that is how they meet. Liz spills like juice on him. They reference this incident. It becomes the only thing they have in common. It's basically the most in common two Jehovah's Witness people have ever had, other than just being Jehovah's Witness. They have common ground because they shared the experience of Liz ruining his shirt.
Looking back on that day.
Yeah.
Flipping through the family photo album, seeing the juice-stained shirt, like right. Monica Lewinsky's dress. The fuck is wrong with me?
You need Jehovah, my friend.
Perfect relationship, though. They say later, they're like, we have our hard times, but we're not going to show them in this movie.
Yeah. Did they say they had hard times?
Yes. She when she's like talking Meg off the ledge or whatever.
You married a man that loves Jehovah. We still have our times when we don't see eye to eye. But with the Bible's help...
Spare me the sermon, okay?
That's fun. One time I spilled juice on him.
when I say talking Meg off the ledge, I mean talking her out of getting divorced. Nothing close to actually going towards a ledge. That would be terrifying, of course.
Although it's kind of implied at times that like things are getting very dark.
Yeah.
In the other relationship, but really the worst thing that could possibly happen in a relationship is the big D.
Yes.
Getting the divorce. The divorce. You got to spell it out in front of the kids because they get all excited when we say the word.
It's like when you open a can of dog food.
Yeah. When I start shuffling the legal documents, the kids get excited.
Two Christmases.
Well, religiously, these kids might be getting Christmas, Hanukkah, birthdays.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they get one birthday.
Yeah.
You open a whole can of holidays in a divided religious household.
In a divided household. Well, let's talk about Meg and Zach's relationship. So they decide to not even get a Jehovah's Witness like wedding. They decide to elope because they realize they don't have their family's full support, yet they're in love. They get a city hall wedding.
Oh.
Eesh.
They paved Kingdom Hall to put up a city hall. Awful.
And it looked beautiful. They kissed. They must be a real life couple.
Right.
Yeah.
And things seem to be okay at first. In fact, it's implied that Zach's restaurant is very successful.
That's fucked
We
up.
can't have success in business to be a chosen one. Anyway, go on.
No.
Real quick, a couple of my best friends got married at City Hall.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, and it was beautiful.
Okay.
It was very lovely.
Were they gay friends?
No, it was a heterosexual couple.
Why were they appropriating gay culture by getting married in San Francisco?
At City Hall?
Yeah.
But it was great.
Weddings
weddings can be nice, but in terms of like, that's just, I think, the best bang for your buck. And it's fun. It's just fun to be there when people are there on the worst days of their lives, walking past you for whatever the fuck they got to do at City Hall.
Right.
And you're on the steps kissing, saying, I
somebody.
do. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody who will listen.
You're just grabbing a woman and kissing her like the sailor in that photo. Because your friend got married.
Yeah. Scott, did you get married at City Hall? I don't recall being invited to your wedding.
We eloped at a, well, we didn't know each other yet, but we eloped at a it was like courthouse, like a small courthouse next to a laundromat, and we took pictures in the park.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're
nice.
you married because the judge said as part of your sentence you should get married to this woman.
Yeah. And then he
Court-ordered
verified that we were both
marriage.
baptized. Yeah. Then we had a court-ordered baptism, and then we got married.
Yes, you did.
It's funny. The judge like really appreciated it. He's like, "Oh boy, a wedding! This is always the best part of my day. Can I take a picture of you guys?" And then he like had his
that's
wedding
really
board.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
really
having a terrible
nice.
day. I sentenced a poor minority to life in prison this morning. I really could use
That's the law.
I really could use something.
I hope I need 2 weddings to make up for this.
I need a W today. And I do mean wedding.
Well, maybe in the secular world, a city hall wedding is all fine and good. In the Jehovah's Witness world, we know that they're setting themselves up for disaster. And again, a Jehovah's Witness thing that's coded for disaster, yet in the secular world, we may not see the problem, is the fact that Zach is doing very well in business. He's wearing a suit. Meg's wearing a dress. They stop in Liz's coffee shop some months later, and Meg says something to Liz very condescending, like, "Oh, you're still here?" When, this literally could have been like 3 weeks gone by.
Yeah. Very rude thing to say to someone.
Very rude. I wrote in my notes, she criticizes Liz for still working at the coffee shop, but the fact is the gay guy hasn't made a move on her, and it's been like 3 months.
Yeah. What can she do about it?
She can't do anything about it.
Is she supposed to get a better job? Because I don't think there is such a thing.
Exactly. No, she can't get a better job.
She doesn't even drink coffee.
Yeah, she doesn't even drink coffee, as we learned in the film. She shouldn't get a better job because her job pays her just right. You know, she gets to live with her parents. She's basically sitting there waiting for a man to propose to her.
Yeah.
Basically. And, you know, until that happens, just, you know, her life isn't going to take shape. It's shown that she's kind of jealous of other girls in relation. This is right before she actually meets John.
Yeah.
You know, she's excited. All the other girls are 18 and they've already eloped or, you know, had their witness weddings or whatever.
Her
I'm
life
still
is
here.
passing her by.
I'm 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm still pouring espressos, you know.
Yes.
In this coffee shop. And they don't even have coffee flavored coffee. For a while, there's a will they or won't they with John and Liz. Like, Liz runs into John several times in the film. He doesn't even get close to making a move on her. But you're thinking, watching the film, but they have such chemistry when they're saying things to each other like, remember when you spilled juice on me? Yes, I do.
Liz?
John?
I'm surprised you remembered.
Yeah, kind of hard to forget that huge stain I left on your shirt. I felt terrible.
Liz, I've dyed the whole shirt red since then.
They finally meet when they're doing some sort of like, should I say, John finally asks her out. They're working on some sort of like construction project.
That was for the church. They were doing that construction project. I just thought it was like one of those.
Why would they be there?
JW factories where you just like pick up work if you're a JW.
Yeah, they're building a big baptism pool.
Yeah,
JW is kind of like the mafia. Like they just have construction jobs that pay them. They don't finish them.
Yeah,
they're selling the copper pipe to.
Yeah, they're both like, I'm doing this job today, whatever that is. Well, see you later.
What crew are you on?
Finishes.
That sounds exciting.
I don't know what it means either. You?
I'm on electrical.
Ah, yeah, that was explained there.
The wires.
Yeah.
Finn Latrulio finding out that
John's
finding out that Vito's not baptized.
It's kill Vito. Oh man. I guess we could just jump ahead to the fact that Liz and John get married. They keep Jehovah in their marriage or whatever. And it seems to be going awesome. They go on picnics. I wrote in my notes, she must have done it right because she's picnicking with Jehovah. Meanwhile, Megan and Zach's marriage is going down the freaking drain.
Not good. Zach is a dick.
Zach is a dick. You know, he doesn't like being told that he's not at home or at Kingdom Hall enough because in his mind, he's working very hard at the restaurant. He's making them a lot of money and, you know, he's supporting his family. And, you know, isn't that good enough for her?
Worth noting that when he asked her to marry her was as a deflection to get out of answering why he didn't attend the Kingdom Hall meeting the night before.
I thought that was very, honestly, kind of good storytelling. It was like I wrote in my notes, like, he asked her to marry him at an inappropriate time, at an inopportune time. It wasn't really like a special marriage. He was literally like, let's not talk about that. There's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Right.
You know, instead of like, you know, planning a nice date and like blah, 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 and then asking her to marry, you know, to marry then.
It was a very opportune time. Very intentional.
Right. I suppose you could say that. Yeah. And so it just felt like, imagine like legit marrying someone because you didn't feel like responding to something they were saying. You're like, shut the fuck up. Let's just get married. So, you know, it was definitely the story proved time and time again that this was a rush decision. It wasn't made with Jehovah in mind. It was, you know, just made based on a whim. And she pays for it. A funny thing to notice about Megan and the way she's treated in this relationship is everyone just pities her. everyone just has sadness and pity when they think about her.
Yeah.
They think about her in a marriage that's not Jehovah centric. And they just, Liz tries to talk to Megan's mom at Kingdom Hall, and it's just like, hey, how's Megan? And the mom just cries. It's like a disgrace on the entire fucking family.
She's a pity Mary for sure.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
I wish you had not told me about this video of Drake masturbating.
Are you still looking
I
at
can't
it?
stop trying to find it right now, which is so hard when you don't have Twitter or any.
Well, it's hard on Twitter. It's not working. It's you just.
Oh, he's hard on Twitter. That's. I see stills. I don't need to see Drake jerking it.
Oh, I see Drake jerking off.
Don't give up, Julian. You can find it. Stick with it. This maybe you made a mistake by looking it up in the first place or even thinking about it, but you have to complete this for Jehovah now.
Yeah.
Same as
Yeah.
Megan is like, Mom, Dad, this is not working out. And her dad's like, well, even though I've given you nothing but a hard time about being with Zach, now that you think this, you actually have to stay with him for Jehovah.
Yes. Everyone said everyone is just taking the time to do the victory lap around Megan, say I told you so, and say now that you made this decision, you have to stick with it. The even worse thing, it's already disgraceful that she's with him and feeling sad. That's already disgraceful. But to divorce, it would be like if she said she was like killing her baby. Like the way they talk about Megan getting a divorce. They're like, oh, what? It's like she's literally like holding a knife above her baby saying like, I'll do it. The way people treat her. Liz takes a detour to go to Megan's apartment to try to talk her out of a divorce. And her own father, this is actually to me one of the most important scenes of the whole movie, is when Megan's father tries to talk her out of the divorce, because Megan's father earlier in the film is depicted as kind of like ineffectual as a spiritual head. Her parents are in a loving relationship, but he's not a good leader, because if he was, all this shit never would have happened. So, he kind of takes this time to say, oh, I've been praying about me and my influence. I should have been a better leader. I should have been a better father. Now I'm going to step up to tell you, you must not get a divorce. Don't do it.
Just don't do it. Not even once.
Not even once.
Yeah. I found the video.
Did you? Can I see?
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, let me send it to you. I found it at 9jawflavor.com. And can confirm he is still the softest rapper in the game. Wait, I gotta fucking type this in again. I'm just gonna text it to the group chat.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah, but her dad's telling her, she's like, look, you didn't include Jehovah in your decision in the first place. And you're always going to be unhappy if you don't include just Jehovah in your decision. So why don't you ask Jehovah if you should get divorced or not? And she's like, thanks, Dad. You're the best.
Right. Megan's story ends, and this has happened in a couple Jehovah's Witness movies, with her like writing a letter to Liz, basically with this like really sad, like unfinished conclusion where she's like, although I'm not happy, like Jehovah has said that we have to stay in the marriage and, make the best of it. Thank you for being a good friend. It's like we see a shot of Megan again, sort of like facing away from the camera. It doesn't matter that Megan is like working with Jehovah to try to make this work. There's no chance that like Zach will get baptized and like redeem himself. They're fucked.
Yeah.
They're completely fucked.
It's such a funny thing for them to like. It's you just can't fuck up. Not even once. You can't make it's like totally unredeemable. Any mistake you make. Like, even though they make a commitment to stay together and try to work on it, at the end, she's just like, yeah, it doesn't work. You can't fix it.
She's just marked. She's got like the scarlet letter, basically.
Yeah.
She's just like, she married without Jehovah.
Yeah, I screwed up.
Zach just
She
won't
ate
get
without
baptized. He just won't get baptized.
He won't do it.
It's really funny. He's scared of water.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can lead a guy to water, but you can't make him get baptized. Meanwhile, just to wrap up the story of Liz and John. Of course, we can talk about whatever after that. But by the way, Megan does say about Zach that she's going to stay in the marriage. They have a big argument. She says, Zach says, "Why are you staying?" And she says, "I'm staying because I want you to live forever."
Yeah.
She knows if she divorces him that they're both going to hell.
Yeah.
So she does not want him to go to hell.
Talk
They
about
don't have
mutually
hell.
assured destruction.
They don't have hell in Jehovah's Witnesses.
What do they have?
They call it Kingdom Hall.
Hey.
Sleep. You just get
It's boring
eternal
in there.
slumber. You're done. That's it.
You're done.
That doesn't sound that bad, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's one of the
I
less
could go
harsh
for
ones.
some eternal slumber right about now.
Yeah, maybe Jehovah's
Right.
Witnesses should lead with that.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but to wrap up Liz and John's relationship, not only do they live happily ever after and talk about their friends who did badly with a tone of sort of like, oh, well, the same way that John talks about his little brother, who is, by the way, the word is disfellowshipped.
Disfellowshipped.
I wrote that in my notes. Disfellowshipped is John's little brother. My final note of the film, at the end, they're happy because they were accepted into Kingdom Evangelizer School. My note, they were accepted to Kingdom Evangelizer School. Was it really that hard to get in? I want to know. Are they turning people away from Kingdom Evangelizer School?
Also, they're like...
It wasn't about how hard it was to get in. It was about how hard the journey was to get there because they went the wrong way in the first place.
Yeah. It's also funny that like they're like 23 at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're acting like, well, the way we feel now is going to be it for the next 60 or so years.
Yep.
That we're together. That's what it does feel like to be that age.
Yeah.
If only this night could last forever.
Yes. Earlier in the film, they have this like Liz has this like older couple that mentors her, this like old Jehovah's Witness couple. And they say, "Oh, we enjoyed our singleness while we had it." I was like, bitch, for how long? From the ages of 18 to 18 and 3 months? And then you got married then. And like, thank God you stayed together for like 60 years or whatever. But anyway, shut the fuck up.
And you still live with
my
your
story.
parents.
Yeah, right.
They still live with their 160-year-old
Yeah,
parents.
like Hitchcock Psycho style.
Yeah.
They're like mummified upstairs. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
What was your story, Scott?
Oh yeah, just thinking about the way they're coming out of this at the end, but we're 40 now. We were 19 yesterday.
Yeah.
There was I had to take my car into Kia on Friday for a recall. Sure. And because it's set up like this, they like provide you with a shuttle, which is just, a dude in a SUV or whatever driving you to your house and then picking you up later. And this guy on the way back, I don't even know how it started because it's not like I asked him, but he said something about his. He said something about his idiot daughter. The response was like, and he's like, you see, the reason I call her an idiot is because, and then this is like the rest of the ride.
Well, of course.
And it was because she's 21 and she has another baby on the way and she can't afford a third baby. And guess who's going to be helping provide for the baby? And this is by the third boyfriend. And he's like, and let's just say, I don't even know his name. I don't even care what his name is. I was like, okay. I'm like, I have not asked this. And he's like,
yeah,
Scott, let's just say we call each of the boyfriends Thug 1, Thug 2, and Thug 3. I was like, Jesus. Oh my God, that's so coded. Not very subtly. And I don't know. He was just carrying on about it from there. It was really crazy, the setting. And he's like, it's not like we lost hope, but she technically wasn't ours. We adopted her from my sister-in-law. when she was 5 and just like going on about it. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like, of course.
God.
Of course you weren't like, sir, tell me about your family.
Right.
Just now you know.
I was
all
just like,
about it.
what? The only things I was saying was just like, well, she's only 21. I mean, I think of like how many, like any friends and family I've had and like how they've changed from between the ages of 18 to like 30. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I don't, man, it was just pretty wild. You just, to the length that he explained the situation and like,
Sure.
Are the kids baptized?
See, I should have asked that. That would have been a good question for me to ask.
Are the thugs baptized?
Are the thugs baptized?
I would guess they've done every single thing wrong. They're all from divided religious households.
Yeah, they're religiously divided.
Yeah, religiously divided. They have all have demanding, high-paying jobs.
Yeah, they all just work.
And they're not baptized. Yeah,
Yeah, they work too much. They're not home. That's why he doesn't like them.
That's why he's got to raise the kids.
If only my daughter's 3 boyfriends were at home, but they're too busy.
Yeah,
They're too busy working.
Well, it sounds like those children will be raised in an also loving, happy household,
right,
by the grandparents.
I mean, it's a no bueno situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, the repopulation is like decreasing at rates. Maybe, you know, people should be having kids by all 3 of their boyfriends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier to have kids when you're younger too.
Right.
Like physically, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Get them while you're young.
Mm-hmm.
It's only going to be harder and more expensive.
It's never too late to bring Jehovah into the situation. So like do what you're gonna first, then turn to Jehovah. You're very sorry.
Yes.
And somebody will just put you up in their basement apartment.
Yeah. Well, my impression from this movie is that you cannot fully be accepted into Kingdom Hall if you ever no matter how, like, even if you're a teenager and you come to Jehovah.
I know.
He just should have gotten baptized.
Yeah, it would have been all over. And it worked out better for her that he was not baptized. But who can tell?
Liz?
Who can tell? Maybe he wouldn't have had all the problems later in life if he had not gotten baptized, or if he had gotten baptized. He brought it up during the huge fight he had with Meg.
But you know what I'm sorry for? I'm not a good father. I'm not a good husband. And I never did get baptized. So there, you win. The only thing I was ever good at was making excuses.
Yeah, it's still, and we sort of said this already, but you know, it's like the baptism thing. Again, it's a situation that's not really gonna happen, and what it really was is just code for the fact that in his heart he knew he wasn't really in it for Jehovah.
Yeah,
and the movie almost says, I don't think this is true, but the movie almost says that he wanted into the Jehovah's Witnesses for the women.
That seemed to be the implication.
Which, like, dude, there's got to be an easier way.
Yeah,
that's what I want to ask. That's what I want to tell all the young, all our young of all cells listening to this.
Yeah,
I would not recommend joining the Jehovah's Witnesses for pussy.
He heard the term spiritual head and he was like, I'm in.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
The ultimate climax.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is an experimental drug called JW. It's like your spirit is getting head. What is true love? Let's answer the question of the movie. What did we learn? What is true love? I can't define it, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah. I say it's between one man, one woman, and one Jehovah.
Mm-hmm. Eiffel towering Jehovah.
A man and woman Eiffel towering Jehovah.
Yeah.
And one pool. One man, one woman, one Jehovah, and one baptism pool.
Yes. I completely agree. True love means you got to get married right when you're 18 to someone you are in love with, but not in love too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be Jehovah based.
They can't have a job or any career prospects for that matter.
No. Although it's worth remembering that John is allegedly in the film. We didn't even talk about this. He's like a famous photographer.
Yeah, but he like doesn't talk about it and he doesn't do it.
I have to say, the one thing I really admire about him, he never gets distracted by all these offers that come along.
What offers?
Well, you know, he has his work on display in these galleries, and magazines, they all want him to be their principal photographer.
Really?
Yeah. He turns them down, though. He doesn't want to be away from the congregation.
Wow.
Oh, he's a very successful, very famous photographer, but he's, he doesn't do it. He doesn't work hard at it.
He puts it aside at the
It just
drop
comes
of a dime
naturally to him.
Go to church, yeah.
Yeah. Although I would imagine it's like being like a videographer at a church or something. Like I feel like the Kingdom Hall is just so insular. If you're like the photographer person, then like other people at Kingdom Hall are just going to buy your photographs no matter what they are and be like, this is amazing.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably true. It is kind of funny when Liz goes to John's gallery show because it's literally like she doesn't even realize it's like his gallery show. She just sees him there.
Yeah.
And it's like a photo of like two people holding hands and
two 19-year-olds holding hands.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh my God, his art is so stupid. But he takes very high quality photos. They look like his art looks like the photos that you find just in the frame of the picture at Target.
Yeah.
But I also put this in my notes. Jehovah's Witnesses love interior decoration that is reminiscent of a hospital room.
Yeah.
So the Jehovah's Witness aesthetic, as referenced by their movies, is just very like comfortable, clinical. It really does feel like you're on hospice care, like everywhere you're at in the Jehovah's, whether you're in the art gallery or the expensive loft or the humble family home. It all feels like there's a nurse by your side, ready to, call the priest to give you last rites.
The film felt the same way. It honestly felt like I was going to die at the end. Like I was going to be administered like a extremely strong sedative and just...
After watching the film, you walk outside, you have a long beard and your hair is all gray. The film that takes 60 years, the film that makes you old.
Yeah, it feels like like a movie like this is what plays in your head in like the nanosecond that your life exits your body.
Yeah, and then you get done with it and you're like, wait, that wasn't my life.
Yeah, what the hell?
I think I got the wrong vision.
No way.
Going to heaven to get your money back. Yeah. Sorry, we only give refunds if you leave in the first 15 minutes.
Oh,
damn it.
Anything else from What Is True Love? Should we give this special Valentine's Day Jehovah's Witness film a rating?
Let's see. Oh, did we bring up that Zach didn't get baptized? What other notes do I have in here?
I'm pretty sure he didn't get baptized.
I thought that was the case, but I had to like read the Wikipedia afterwards to make sure it was following.
Smart. Like there would be a Wikipedia. It would be deleted by the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Jehovah's Wiki.
Yeah, there should just be Jehovahpedia or whatever so they can approve it. One of the parents at some point said Zach is a bit of a high risk. I thought that was funny.
Yes.
Zach is a bit of a high risk.
Imagine fucking going to boring ass Kingdom Hall every week just still for the other people in your Kingdom Hall to look at you and be like, that guy's no good.
Yeah.
They're in Kingdom Hall.
All right. Yeah.
Such high standards.
They are crazy, man. I'm sorry. Beggars can't be choosers, Jehovah's Witnesses.
And this guy this guy saw Kingdom Hall and he was like, this is where I'm going to get pussy with like the 12 girls here who all their parents hate me. Everyone here hates me. I guess he thought he was going to be the like bad boy of JW.
We saw him at the coffee shop probably. He probably had a crush on both of them.
Yeah.
As it appears. And then he found out they're Jehovah's Witnesses and was like, okay.
Ooh, I can get married when I'm 18 if I go here.
Yeah.
What every single
Every
guy
teenage
thinks.
boy's dream to get married when you're 18.
Ooh, I could get married so quick, then I get to have sex.
I just
All
got to
the
get my
time.
body wet to get my dick wet.
Whoa.
And then he doesn't. He fucks that up. Just
Yep,
jump
he
in the
doesn't
pool,
get
dude.
baptized.
Yes, this is exactly about him not being baptized.
I think I'm ready to rank it.
Let's rate this film.
Yes.
Let's rate this film. This was a good one. What do we think? What is the official Boys Bible Study Valentine's Day rating of What is True Love?
So many questions left unanswered. For instance, what is true love?
Yeah.
Can anyone ever really know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give this 9 out of 9 jaw flavors.
Oh my God, I didn't even look at the post.
It's funny that it just has the picture of him touching his dick holding his dick as the thumbnail, the uncensored.
You know Drake would have gotten baptized if he had to. He wouldn't have
He's
hesitated.
Jewish, my friend.
I would have
I'm saying he
you.
still would.
Oh,
Sorry, Julian, but he still would.
You can have him. The JWs can have him.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. Not a fan. None of that C-rap nonsense for me.
That's a really
Thank
good
you
point.
so much. I C-rap and I turn the radio off.
I'm on the C-Rap diet. Scott, what would you rate this film?
I would rate this 100 out of 100 past opportunities to get baptized. What are you thinking, Zach? Just take the plunge. All the babes want you to. All the condescending very old white parents want you to. Either go full restaurant biz or go full Jehovah's Witness. That was kind of, I mean, I appreciated the misunderstanding from the Jehovah's Witnesses, but not the most accurate portrayal of the restaurant biz, if I have to be picky in any way.
What, in that way that a restaurant was successful?
Yeah. Well, just like I feel like he would be, I don't know, like out late on cocaine. Maybe he is. Maybe they were trying to imply that.
There's only so far you can go.
Getting too caught up in the high-end
although
restaurant
we did see drugs in A Hope for What We Do Not See. We did see when a man threw an unidentified bag of dirt onto the table.
Yes.
And that was supposed to mean drugs.
Yeah, 1 ounce of mulch.
Yes. So they have covered drugs before, not in this film. As for me, I've got to give this film What is True Love 1 out of 1 spilled glasses of juice. Because as we learned from this film, a glass of juice spilled with Jehovah in mind can begin a new life. I love this film. The Jehovah's Witnesses once again proved themselves to be some of the most solid filmmakers in all of Christianity. Now, I genuinely think that I should be considered a devout Jehovah's Witness just for watching all of these. But we all know that's not true. Even if I was genuinely curious in joining the church, they would be very cross with me. I probably couldn't marry any of their daughters. Well, that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Well,
it's sad.
It's sad, in fact. Well, thank you very much to all of our gentle listeners for tuning in to this special Valentine's Day episode of Boys Bible Study. You are all our Valentines.
We love you.
We sure do. And special thanks to our generous patrons. If you really like what we do and want to support us, go to patreon.com/boysbiblestudy to subscribe for $5 a month or more and get Boys Bible Study content every single week. Also, special thanks, extra shout outs to our patron saints, the $20 patrons of Boys Bible Study: Nicole, Marissa, Mark, Jeff, and Rent. We're so grateful for your support. Also, our outro music is Oh My God by Mary. So from all of us here at Boys Bible Study, myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Scott and Julian, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And also with you.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me. Every day